Let's continue in Hallchos Shabbos. How many licht do you have to light on Shabbos? Is meikar adin. The Gemara says, "Hatlukas ner b'Shabbos choyve." To light a ner b'Shabbos is a choyve. It's a chiyuv. Ner is a loshen yuchit, singular. So that means you have to light one licht. Same as also the Gemara says, "Al gimel avayres nushe meises, al shaloi hidlik yesaner." So you see also again, meikar adin metzadalucha, you light one candle. That's the lushen ochet from the Rambam, the lushen from the Alter Rebbe. Echet danushim ve'echet nushim chayuv v'liz bebetayim ner dulik bebaisai. One licht. And what is the bracha? How do we make the bracha? Adlik nair Shabbos Kodesh. Also, again, nair is singular. That means mitzad alucha, you only have to light one licht. Lemaisa, to light two candles, steht schon in the Rishonim. The first Rishon which mentioned this is the Ravia, one of the first Rishonim, the Ravia, and he gives the reason. He gives a few reasons, but the reason which most of the poskim bring down is you light two candles because Zucher v'Shumer. We know Kol Duver, all the things of Shabbos are doubled, as the Tur brings down. You have Lechem Mishnah and Shnei Kvosim, and the same is also Dlukas Ner, Zucher v'Shumer. We have the famous story the Gemara says that the Rashbi came out of the Mara. He saw a Yid going with Shnei Haruvas and asked, "Why do you need Shnei Haruvas?" And he said, "Chad keneged Shumer, chad keneged Zucher." So over there we see, since we see Shabbos, Zucher v'Shumer, so therefore we light two candles. And das ist the Sache again, as steht in the Rishonim, that you should light two candles. There's other reasons also why we can't. The Ravi says another reason also. It says because once upon a time, every room, every house had a candle, because you wouldn't living in the dark. So basically, you had a candle just because it's dark. It's getting dark. So how do we know that it is L'Kuvot Shabbos? How do we recognize, what is the simon, what is the heker, that when I light candles, I'm lighting candles because Chazal have weggestellt halucha that you have to light candles. There's a candles automatically, because it's not like today's day we have light. Then there was a light, a candle. In order that we should see that basically I'm lighting candles, I'm doing the Tkunas Chachumim, so therefore you have to light two candles. One is Pashut, it shouldn't be dark, and one, it should see it's L'Kuvot Shabbos, so therefore you have to light two candles. This is the Ravi, one of the reasons the Ravi says. He says we see also Chanukah that Shas Haskuna, you put Benichal Shilchuna V'Dayoy, so that in the Gemara, you add on another candle, because if you put it on the table, then people will not recognize it's L'Kuvot Shabbos. When you put it by the door, we know it's L'Kuvot Shabbos, L'Kuvot Chanukah. But if you put it, Shas Haskuna, you put it on Shilchuna, so we don't see that basically it is L'Kuvot Chanukah, so therefore you have to put the Shamas. From then, you have to put the shamas, but not hands on. So, Akaponim, Suk the Ravi, another reason why we put two candles, because it should be a heker. The Rebbe brings another reason, and which is basically a Kabbalah reason. It is because since every Yid has a Neshama Yisayra, so therefore we have two Neshamas. The regular Neshama and Neshama Yisayra. So therefore we light two candles, one for the regular neshama, one for the neshama yisayra. And another popular reason which is tight in the poskim is keneged ish ve'isha. Keneged ish ve'isha. This is also the Rebbe mentions it also, Sheikh Menachem, this reason why. What is with keneged ish ve'isha? Ner is begematria 250. 2 times ner is begematria 500. Two ner is begematria 500. We know a man has Ramach Ivram, 248 Ivram. A woman has 4 more Ivram than a man. They have Reishnim Bais Ivram. Together, how much Ivram do they have? How many limbs do they have? Together is 500. So therefore, we light 2 candles, because one against the Zucher, against the Nekaiva. That means Ish v'Isha. Ish v'Isha, especially with the Shtayt in the Svuram, that basically when lighting Shabbos candles, there's Gila as gila for gite kinder, so therefore, now this is the time of moist for them, about the same. Aber akapurim, the kids said the is, we have 500 limbs together, and therefore, zimt man nun, shnai, two licht. What is the difference of the? By the way, since we have this pshat, since we have this time, was the poskim say ish v'isha, and therefore we have 2 candles against ish v'isha. Now we're going to understand also why the Rebbe said a girl does not need to light 2 candles; she needs 1 candle. Although she geworden a meaning is rule that the 2 candles zucher v'shumer, but since by her she's only single, so therefore you only light 1 candle. You don't light 2 candles.
That doesn't reach the number of Ivar.
Correct. But at least when we have ish v'isha, we have 500, we have 2 candles. She doesn't have, she's have a kapurim. Yeah, you're right. Good. So das is the zach that we light 2 candles. Now, can we light more candles? I want to light 3 candles. I want to light 5 candles. Can I do it or not? Since the 2 candles are zocher v'shomer, if you light more, then basically it doesn't have the remes. Whenever we have a thing which is a remes for something, can we add on or not? So over here we have a machlokes rishonim. If you can add on anything which is against some a remes of something, can you add on more, or is mavatel the remes which it is? So you shouldn't add on more than 2 candles. So there is a machlokes rishonim. And in the Remu in Darke Moshe wants to say you shouldn't add on. Don't add on because it so to speak shakes the Zucher v'Shuma. But Lamaisa the Remu in Shulchan Aruch zug the Remu v'yichoylem lahoyisuf, because you could add on. The Russian is v'yichoylem lahoyisuf al duvar amechuven knei duvar eichet bevat shlo yifchas. Even if you have a thing which is against something, you make it a remes for something, and you add on, it doesn't, so to speak, dissolve or dismantle the remes. You can always add on, but you shouldn't. It means that you shouldn't go less than that. That means again, there's the Remuha Paskas finally in Darke Moshe, which is the longer version of the Remu. Over there, he has an issue. But Lamasa. Paskin terazoy vida motcha, yichoylen lohisep ala mechuven, and therefore, as that you shouldn't add, that you could add on. Lamas is abudu poskim, which say that anything that the Chassam Sofer asks on the Remu, that you see you paskin that anything which is a remes, if you add on, it doesn't is the remes. We see in the Gemara a lot of times that makbel gendafke on what the number is. And not more. But any case, B'chol Oifen is the Matthias is the Remu Paskin and why so you could add on. And this is meaning is rule that you add on, you don't stick to only 2. There are people who should only stick to 2, they're not going to go more. They go their own Zucher v'Shomer. But the Kapun Minig Oilam, or the Rebbe the Oilam is that you could add on. Now how much should you light? So we Pashtas, 2 Igevan Achiev. As I mentioned before, Zucher v'Shomer, Shtadchen in der Shoinem, is Igevan Achiev. Matzen legab a gewisse Aluches bald, that 2 is kili, so to speak. That is the minig Yisroel. But how much should you add on if you want to add on? So by the way, ich will noch eine Sache sagen. There are poskim which say, although you want to add on, but you should always have 2 separate. Should be away from the other. If you want to put on 5 candles, make 3 on one side, and it should be some kind of division, a little bit different than the 2, because it should stay the 2, the Zeicher 2. And I'm thinking that's the reason why in the Polish Welt a person starts with 4. 2 candles and 2 oil. And always stays 2 oil. 2 is Shema's eyes. Always, two of all the candles you can add on when you have children, we're going to see soon. But 2 always going to say Shema's eyes. I'm assuming that that's the reason. Because there was at least should be some kind of heket that 2 licht should always stay.
And 2 other wax.
All the rest are wax. 2 are Shema's eyes. We don't have the minik, by the way, to sin Shema's eyes. If I Kapurim don't be the minik Shema's eyes, there, such a case, 2 should always be 2. It should be a heket. Akmur Hama should you tzint. Steht in Shlu. The Shlu HaKudosh brings down that you should light 7 candles. 7 candles. The minig as a yid should light 7 candles. Why? It is against the 7 days of the week. It is against the Shiva Kenai HaManoir in Beis HaMikdash. It is against the 7 days of the week we said. It is against also the 7 aliyahs which we are oil in Shabbos. And another time which brings down in this forum is because Shabbos is Malchus, and since Malchus is the 7th midah from the midas, from Zu, so therefore you should light 7 licht. The Araminik, which the Shlu itself brings also down, that you light 10 candles. Why? Keneged das Eres Adibras, Keneged das Eisa Sfiras, Och ben as Aminik. And there is a minik, listen, and the Arba Tzadikim, they used to do that you light 36 candles. It says, why? Because since 36 hours was the Aragunas, when the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world, there was 36 hours which the Aragunas were shining, because 12 hours Friday, and when from Adam, he had 12 hours, and then another 24 hours Shabbos, and only Matzah Shabbos is Nignis Gevarim, so it was 36 hours. Connected 36 hours, which is Aragunas, you should light 36 licht. Lamasa is that the person starts with 2 licht, and every child is Mamoisiv Roda licht. That's a minig, which is taken in the Friedige Poiskim with Teres Chaim, but Akapon was a minig which the Rebbe kocht sich in dem stark. The Rebbe writes of this in Shlach Menachem. The reason is the Lashon of the Rebbe, Kedai Lahur Muslim should call Achas V'Achas. We want that every child should have a separate bright muzzle, therefore we add on a licht, and that's why we add on, and this is the minik, Taka, it's probably in the Ruba from the Welt, when a child gets born, you add on a licht. The reason, again, as the Rebbe says, that because every child should have a bright. Other poets can say another reason. Other poets can say a reason is because, since we remember last week we spoke that the first Shabbos, the lady was in bed and she didn't sin, and therefore we pasken that the husband should sin. So the others say that since the first Shabbos she didn't sin, so Lekuvadim, as we know, the halacha is going to just get to this after this, that if you get to light a candle, the Shabbos candles, you have to add on. So therefore, you add on. It's a shvere tam, very shvere tam, because even though if she forgot to light, at least she didn't forget the husband lit candles. Aber Akapuram, this is a Sache, was the Burch HaShilchim with other points can bring such a tam. That's what the Mishnah Luchas sagt auch der tam. Aber Akapuram, this is the reason why they write that you add on. And the Kitamarich says, why is the reason why we add on a licht on every child? Since the Gemara says, Harugl Baner, it's very important people to know that. Harugl Baner, if you have nice candles, nice, big, shine candle, it should burn. Havala Banin Talmid Chechumim. He will have children or son-in-laws, he will have Talmid Chechumim. So since, why? It's Toysizuk, Kener Mitzvah V'Toyrah. Why is Wusat Shaykhas? Because Ner Mitzvah Torah, you light nice candles with the Rav they gave him a son, a child, which will have bright in Torah. So therefore, since we want to have this child gets born, we want it should be a Talmid Chacham, or a Kaponim, if it's a girl, the husband should be a Talmid Chacham. So therefore, we add on a candle in order to have a Merin Talmid Chacham. And that's the minik. Lamaisa, we add on always al Kaponim. By us and Ashkenazim, that's the minig you add on. I think the Svardim do not have this minig, but Akapunim Ashkenazim, that's the minig you add on. For every child. What? Oh, nice candles could mean shemazai is a refiner oil. It could also mean if you have two companies, one company doesn't burn that nice, and you have somewhere else. And the Apostle which say nice means bigger, longer. This is auch da.
I was going to say it says Shamzai. People like Shamzai is because they want Banim Talmid Chacham. So he said by him it's not the minig. Shaila is taka. Why not?
The Rebbe,
I know there are, but
they have a very good question. And somebody asked the Rebbe this, and the Rebbe says somebody asked a question about something about Ner Shabbos. And the Rebbe said, if you ask me this question, I ask you a better question. Why don't we light Shem Hazayis? And the Rebbe answers nicht. The Rebbe sagt, aber so hat man schwer getan, and therefore we don't light. So there's no answer, according to the Rebbe. The Rebbe writes for Bogomilsky, not the Moshe, his brother, Pesach. Pesach Bogomilsky, he wrote to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said, if you ask, I'm going to ask you even better. Why don't you ask, and why don't we light Shem Hazayis? And the Rebbe says, also Rebbe gesehen, am schwer, but Maila, that's the meaning is. So again, it's very interesting because Shem Hazayis is in Chazal steht as a hider in Shechanor Chazir. We're going to see Reish Samachdalat what kind of the first Shemen is Shem Hazayis. But does the meaning again? Now again, andere Platz do a brief in the Rebbe, which the Rebbe somebody asked that he wants to do mamish like Chabad, and his wife didn't come from Chabad, and she wants. And the Rebbe says it comes to the Shabbos. You do the wife should do as according to what she saw by her mother. So I think even for Shem Hazayis, I'm not sure if it's for sure, but if mother did like this, she should go ahead and do the same as her mother, and don't make a fuss.
Today's candles, that's in burn just like Shem Hazayis. The whole thing is that it burns nice.
Emes. Ja, aber du aber in für Shem Hazayis auch so in Nunum Shem Hazayis. B'mayla, this is the same as we're going to say. Can we light in the menorah? Oh, the Mama schon Pesach gefragt dem Rebbe, his question was, why is it that Chanukah in 770 in Shul we light with candles and not with Shem Hazayis? That was his question. So the Rebbe answered, also viel beim Schwer, and at the fraction of Chanukah, for mit in das Medrsh, frage a better question, why don't you sin der Shabbos? But this is like again. So we see the Rebbe had this question, but Akapunam, that's the Nekidus Advurim, as that's the minik. Now again, if when a person is moisef another licht when he has a child, it is always kedai to say should be bli neder, because then if he goes in a place which he was not able to add on, if he's not able to add on, well, as a simshiti, they will always only give you 2 licht. At least you don't have an issue of a kapula b'neder tov, and therefore it's always kedai that you should. Say it's believe neder. And the same will also be if you buy licht, which always you light with 4-hour candles, and now you decide I want to go to 5-hour candles. It is kedai to say bli neder, because sometimes you're going to go in the grocery and they're not going to have 5-hour candles. Then you're going to be stuck. So therefore, it's always bli neder. If you don't have, you go back to 4-hour candles. The minig is, again, I'm saying this a minig, this is how I wrote it, but basically, by Oschabad is nicht the minig, but the minig from the Chassidische minig is that even a person lights at home 10 candles, when they go out of their house, they go to their guest or someone else, then the minig is that you light only 10 candles. That's always the minig. When I used to have guests coming over here from my siblings or they only light 2 candles, because in the house they light more. When it comes to out of a house, sie steischen suchen schon nach Roim, in steischen nach Roim die Sach. In nach Roim suchen, bis es Rul Edli mit anderen Shivas Vurim suchen, Shir Musimalucha Bar Moshe, that even if you didn't make a Tanai that when you're going away it should be less, but since that's the minig, is keili, it is hisna kili mat sich ausgenommen, and it's fine when you go away to be less. But I want to make it clear, minig Chabad is not like that. Minig Chabad is, as I see Poshet guest, that basically all the guests ask for all their candles, but I have a better story. I was writing my Sefer on Shabbos years ago, and in Heich Menachem walks in once a Yid, middle-aged Yid. His name is Ramoshe Smith. He came to live to Monsey for a short, maybe a year or 2, and he came to live right next to Heich Menachem, which is very interesting because Heich Menachem is smack in the middle of the Chassidische Welt. Chassidus means Taliban Chassidus, and the Lubavitcher Oilam lived more north. So usually a young man comes to live Chitz the Ingalat, which want to be right next to Heich Menachem. There are Ingalat which came to being Malam and Mechede. They want to be right next to Heich Menachem. So they come direct. But he, a middle guy, mensch, took the apartment right next to Heich Menachem. He came to sit. Saying, okay, and he davened there for a while. So one time, he tells me, I heard you write a cipher on Shabbos. I'm going to tell you a story. I went for the Rabbi Yechidus, and I said, I remember if he said, I said, or my wife said, if he asks, or his wife, maybe his wife said, I want to add on, to start right away to sin after the chasana a few more than 2, and the Rebbe said, don't do it. Why? Because since when you go away, sometimes you won't have enough lech to sin, and therefore it's makabel given a kabula, and let's say you have a kabula, you should sin 4 lech. And you're coming off a place, you only have 2 left, you have an issue. Halachic, you have an issue. So therefore, it's not kedai that you should start up right away with 2, stay with 2. So over there, we see that the Rebbe said, what's the big deal? I'm only sending where I am, then I only in the house I'm going to send this. When I go, I'm the guest. What's the big problem? So I say, the Rebbe gehalten von den Kid. The Rebbe gehalten us. A mention makabel in the heim, you do the same outdoor. So therefore, he tells me, this is my story. I think, maybe half a year later, he moved already, and since I never saw him. So I said, I always say that he came to live over there just to give me over these yechidus. I should be able to put it in this. Again, Moshe Smith, and anybody knows him, he gave me over the story. His yechidus, the Rebbe said, don't do it, because you can have issues when you go on to someone of guests, you're not going to have enough left. Don't start doing it. But the Kapuram, la Maise, but the Chsiddish will ja so the meaning, but okay, jeder is sich fina so wie la hara pashta. We do what we do, our meaning, they do what they meaning.
So would it be better then to bring your own lift, just in case that let's say...
If you're afraid that you're not going to have enough lech where you go, it's always kedai to, yeah. The poskim say that if a lady wants to add on more than regularly, he has to get Rashid's permission from the husband, and she cannot do it without his permission. Just because I see this is looks like it was tension by some people, they wanted more. So again, that's the locha. Okay, so what is the locha if a person forgot to light candles? So we're going to divide it first. First, a person forgot to light candles at all, and then if usually she lights 4, she got to light only 3. What is the locha? So again, steht in Shichanurach, in the Gebot of Amaril, Isha, a lady which forgot to light Ner Shabbos one time, for the rest of the life, whenever she's going to light candles, she's going to add on a licht. And it's very important, the halachos which we're going to discuss, because this is a lot of shaylas, especially comes from the shluchim, and let's discuss it. Steht again noch steht in Shichanurach b'shem Demarel, a person, a lady who forgot to light candles, then she should always add on a candle for the rest of the life. If she used to sin 2 candles, from now she's going to sin 3 candles. And if she forgot another time, she's going to add on. So every time you're going to forget to light candles, you are going to add on. Why is the reason? What is the reason why? So we have 2 reasons. One reason is, which the Maril writes, the Loshen Maril, which the Alter Rebbe calls the Maril's Loshen, Kedai sheyila heke, she should have it in mind, she shouldn't forget. V'zikuren shtay zihire mekan al haba b'kivet haShabbos. She should read, it's zipped. How do you say it's zipped? It hurts when you have to add on a lecht. I'm telling you. As a rov, which gets the shaylas, it hurts. So therefore, since she had on, she has to add on a lecht, she's going to remember not to forget. It's so to speak, as punishment. I don't want punishment, that a simon that she is going not to forget anymore again. This is the reason which the Maril brings, and this is the reason which the Alter Rebbe brings. The Levish has a different reason. He said, "Lasaken mashe ifsa." Since she forgot to light, she's makalki gewein. She has to be masaken it. This is the illusion Hamaril. It's a little bit hard to understand the Levish. The Levish's reason, because if the reason is only to be masaken, so one time that's a masaken gewein. Last week I forgot. This week I put it on one time to be masaken. Last week I forgot to turn 2 licht. I'm going to add on 2 licht today, 1 week. Why Kester the life? According to the Marilla, kann man noch verstehen. It should be a reminder the rest of your life. But according to the Levish, it's a bit schwer why you have to. But that's the Matzis. Even the Levish, with his reason, also says the rest of the life you gotta add on. It's interesting even that the Maril himself, when he was asked the Shaila, so a lady forgot, he said that if it's possible you should fast also for a lady. So he goes not to light candles, Shabbos candles for a lady. Is a größere Sache, and therefore you have to add on, and if it's possible that you should nobody does today's day, it's just in the post. So that's you don't have to don't fast. Now the Remu itself brings the Maril, and he asks, Chimras of Chimras, the whole Shabbos is a Drabunan. In in order to rest of the life, and that's the lucha. If a person forgot to light Shabbos candles, next rest of the life they're going to add on from now on 1 more candle, which has more. Now when did they forget? After the chasana or before the chasana? Before the chasana. Ich habe gehabt a Schale yesterday. Aber got a Schale from Baltimore, einen von der Nash. Afraid this other Schale. His daughter went to babysit. She had to come back. It couldn't come back in time. In the Emes, the Aluchi is, the Schale, if not 500 times, and probably 1,000 times, that for girls you don't add on. But why? The reason why?
I thought the whole situation is if she forgot.
She forgot.
Like a situation.
We'll get to a minute to that thing also. We'll get to that. We'll get to a minute then. A kapona, children do not add on. The reason why, partially which I say, because the meidl is a heilig for the balabus, for the mom. Yeah, is b'shas when sie sin, is sich masalik. As she didn't sin, is in a chasaf Allah nachals. That's I think that's the reason. But in any case, the Rebbe didn't want the girl should sin more than one. So in any case, what? Will be the same thing. Yeah, Emma's. Aber oi bei der Schale, du gehst an der Schale. Oi bis es kriegen suche wir schon mal, she has to light. Oi was es kriegen suche wenn Kaiwe, she doesn't, she's still single. But again, la masa khashiga de Schale ochet, older ones and older which live their lives. Don't know how much more gewein. But usually children which which in the house, it's a can't Schale. This is a Schale was macht sich excited. A kind verschluft, gedoime, it happens. What do you add on? You add on another licht. That means if you're used to send 4 licht, you're going to add on a 5th licht. But not, it has to be bekamas. Steht klur in the maril. And nicht the pshat that you're going to do, I had, let's say, a 4 licht, which every order 4 licht was 3-hour candle, 5-hour candles. Now I have to add 1 more. I'm going to buy smaller ones. So I add on a licht, but lamasa b'chesaru geneman. Yeah. Till now I had 4 candles, which is 5 hours. Now I'm going to put on 3 hours. No. The maril zut no ish uni. There must come a Michael's on. She should add on b'kamas. If you have a person which is very poor, and candles cost a lot of money, even today. Ner mitzvah box of candles could cost $20, something like that, even more. So, but again, it means $20 might not be a but lechte gewinner sagt, the maril sucht ish uni, ish aniya, you could add on, she should be moiseb in the kamut, of the rest of life kamut of the licht. Now, what is if she forgot one halacha beforehand, that if she forgot Shabbos, or if she forgot Yom Tov, the rest, that means if she forgot Shabbos, she's always going to have to add on even Yom Tov. And if she forgot Yom Tov, she will also have to add on Shabbos. This is according to Rav Poiskim. That means if she forget for Shabbos, she should put on for Yom Tov. This is probably all the Poiskim. But if she got Yom Tov, most of the Poiskim say if she got Yom Tov to light, which is a little bit a pale, because she could always light b'shaz when Yom Tov she could light before the Seder. So there has to be she forgot even at night, and she only remind the next day. But if she forgot the Yom Tov, according to Rebbe Poiskim, she has to add on the rest of the life. Rav Wosner wants to say that no, if she forgot Shabbos, she has to add on. For Yom Tov hat man es Shmesaken gewähnt. If she forgot Yom Tov, man es Shmesaken gewähnt. So therefore, if she forgot Yom Tov, Lamais ich weiß nicht, was bepoil with the minig, and I assume that this is not in Poiskim do halucha that we can't judge of a sach was built to the loshchiche as do a minig, because again Yom Tov, even if you got the light, when it comes to the middle of the soup, you remember, I mean, where's the light? You forgot that. Yeah. But Akapuram, Ravoza Zukt, if you got Yom Tov, you don't have to add on, but if you get Shabbos, you have to add on for the rest of the life. Now, what is the halacha? What is the halacha if she sins usually 5 licht, and by mistake she forgot to light 1 candle? 1 candle, she only light 4 candles. What is the halacha? And this is a thing which comes a lot. Because to forget in ganzen sitzen lecht is not such a kamazach, because again, usually me vergesst es so schnell. Es macht man hat noch nicht gehen, aber usually it is you forgot one light. What is the halacha? So we have a prima gudam which says a person which sins 4 licht and she forgot 1 licht once, she has to add on from now on 5 another licht. That means even if she lighted candles, but she forgot one of the minig, what she had the minig that she should light 4 candles, and she only lit 1 Shabbos 3 candles, from now on she's going to light 5 candles. And this is how the Eliyah Rabbah paskens, and this is how Derech HaChaim paskens. This is the Gdoila pasken like this. And this Lamaise is the minig akapunim in the Polish Welt. In the Polish Welt is also the minig. If a person forgot even 1 licht, she is going to add on from now on another licht. The Mishnah Berurah disagrees with this. Mishnah Berurah says, if she got to light candles, I'm going to get cancer. If she got to light 1 candle which she's ruggled to light, why should she have to add on? I don't agree with it. And the Mishnah Berurah paskens, the whole chimra of to be add on a candle is a chimra. You want to go even more that she should add on when she forgot 1 candle light, it's too much, and you don't do it. You don't need to do it. Now, the Arpois come, which say, makachilik. If she sins 4 candles and she forgot 1, you could rely on the Mishnah Berurah. But if she lights only 2 candles, and she forgot one of the Zucher v'Shomar, this you add on. Because Sof Kol Sof, since the Rishonim said that we should sin 2 licht, that means the Ravia and others should sin 2 licht, it's a skili kibli alayim kechoive, and it is now, night of Shabbos is han 2 licht. So therefore, in such a case, Zukter, if you got one of the 2, you should add on. If you get the other 3, you could rely on the Mishnah Berurah. I don't think he brings the Mishnah Berurah, because I think he's the same time with the Mishnah Berurah Kapunam. He says, Demos, you don't have to, that's his achrua. But Lamasa, he himself writes, the minig is nicht so, the minig is to add on. And there's in Kinyan Torah, in a lot of other poiskim, the minig is even if you get 1. Now, what do you do b'poil? So again, where the minig is to add on, again, if a Polish person will ask me such a question, I would say, there's the minig. If your mother did like that, if she forgot, because again, this is a common shala, you should do like this. I don't know exactly how we pasken. I don't know exactly how by us we pasken. I only say I have this shaila a lot by shluchim. Shluchim ask me that a balas shiva, a mekereves, she started sinning licht, and one Shabbat she forgot. Not forgot whole, but she forgot one of the Adigan. Zugich Eibig of the Zach. You don't need to. You could rely on the Mishnah Berurah, because it's very hard for them. I'm telling you, it's very hard for them. Chashin Ghat, Nushim Tzidkunis, which they forgot totally, and I told them she should add on, and she gave Tisha B'Av. I'm telling you. So therefore, in Takazami fall, so it's a crisis. Then I say, okay, add on. Just you used to sin 3 hour left, take 4 hour left to finish. Okay, nobody realizes, but to do a gewisse bisha them. So when it comes to shluchim, the other Sachen, always say if you forgot one licht, don't add on. You don't have to add on. I will always say, again, if it's possible, take at least one licht should be a little bit longer. From a 4 hour to 5 hour, from 3 hour to 4 hour, one licht at least. Or the two zuche v'zumers, or if you know shemas eyes, put in a little bit more shema. Just yoitzes on the other poiske, but again, you do your own need. So again, what the meaning is by Ose Chabad, ich weiß nicht. I don't know, because again, schwer zu sagen min hugum of the Sachen when people forget, nobody makes announcements, it's schon kein Minig auf der Sache noch, it's schwer zu sagen of dem Minig. But again, if a person forgot, he has a mishnah to rely that shouldn't have on, but at least if he wants to be a machbar like a bunch of other poskim say you should have on, and again it's a prima guda with the Rechaim with the El Yerabah, which is way before the Mishnah Berurah and bigger poskim. So in such a case, I would say add on at least one licht or a drop of oil, or add on a licht to be a longer licht. In today's day, Baruch Hashem, we do 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, even 6 hours. You can always add on a little bit, and that should be fine. Now, let's go to what he questions, what he said. He said, it was a situation. So, we see in the Maril, that the only way when we are going to say not, she doesn't have to add on, if it is a oines gumar. If it is shokcha or hazida, you have to add on. Oines gumar, and in the Maril adds on. Listen to the Lushan, Rebbe. Kegon shahoisu bebeit asurim. You hear what it says? Kegon shahoisu bebeit asurim. That means, if she's a oines because she was sick, that's not a oines. Why? Because the shaila of the Maril was, there's two gerses. One gerse is ishish cholza, a lady which was sick and she couldn't get out of the bed because she was sick. Zug the Maril that she should add on. So we see, although it's a richtige oines, it's a real oines. So we see even such a oines, das heißt she oines gumar, and for such a case you should still add on if she forgot totally. So therefore, when we ask such a question, a lady, a girl, let's again, my girls we don't add on, but let's say a lady went to a babysit for someone else and she wanted to come back and she didn't make it back. That's for sure not a oines gumar that you should say that you shouldn't add on, because that's not even a oines like cholza, like she's sick. In Alpha Pekan, shtayt as by cholza darf man moises on. So therefore, even it was a reason why she couldn't do it, then you are going to cancel him, and she will have to add on, even if she couldn't make it.
Lighting electric candles in the hospital makes it not a problem.
The what?
Lighting electric candles in the hospital.
Oh, so you're bringing another question. What happens if a person forgot to light Shabbos candles, but the husband has a minig that he closes the light and opens it up with Shabbos? Yeah, as I mentioned, I don't remember if I mentioned it already, but if not, we're going to mention it. That there's a minig by it's two menugim. There's one minig is that the lady closed the light and she opens it up before she starts sinning, and then she starts sinning. That means the bruch should go on also on the electric. What happens? Then there's the other minig that the husband puts it on the Kubit Shabbos. Zuk Travosner. If a lady forgot that's in the licht, although the husband put on the light, the Kubit Shabbos, das heißt Ashokcha. Weil Chazal haben weggestellt to zint licht, a choyves gavra, that you should light candles, and therefore, although we have light in our house, we are still going to light candles. So therefore, since Chazal haben weggestellt Tkuna, Naira Shabbos, you have to have meise uns in the licht, and therefore, she forgot the light. Even in such a case, you should add on. Also sagt Ravos klur, Mama schon der Neuse, and sagt in such a case, even the husband put on the licht of Shabbos, if you can, you should add on. I had a now some want to say no, Lamaisa, since we have light in the Shabbos, so we shouldn't cancel him. This is what someone wants to say. But again, Ravos with other points say clear not like that. And I have a right to that also. What is if a person, for instance, goes to a hotel and she forgets to light candles? Yeah? But there's other ladies by the table which light candles. So you say you don't cancel her because they have over here by your suit, do you have light which was klicht Shabbos? Avada nicht. Dios is gezin, dann choiv is gavar to fulfill. So therefore, you have to light candles. In the upcoming Oris Rulim which is going to print probably this week, I have a whole tshiva of a shaila which I have one of the shluchim, which asked me a shaila, very interesting shaila, that they have a mother which basically helped the two daughters to light 2 candles, everyone each 1 candle. And by the time after the daughters finished sinning and she wanted to sin, she had, I don't know if she remembered that you have to take off the kugel or put on the kugel on the, she went to the kitchen to put on the kitchen and she forgot to light candles. So it's come Friday night and you have 2 candles because 2 children lit the candles, but the mother forgot. So the shlich asked me, what's the halacha? Do I have to add on or not? And there's a shlich who said, and I wrote him a tshiva. He wanted to say no, because sof there is 2 candles, which is basically little Kuvit Shabbos, so therefore I don't have to ask it. And ich habe ihm geschrieben, da ganz harichas, das ist nicht gerecht. And the reason why, very simple. Because after all, remember last week we spoke, how could the daughter tzin licht? How could the daughter tzin licht? The mother is moita. She's bechal b'nai bais. So what do we say? The daughter is a masalek from the mother's sin. Yeah? That's the kid. The mother is a masalek from the sin. So now, each girl which sinned licht, she sinned for herself. The mother, she has a choives gavra, and a choives bais as balabais, it's sinned licht. Who sinned licht over there? So he wanted to say, sof there is 2 licht on the table. So I asked him, you tell me, if a family went to a Shabbaton, and there's a whole table of licht, but she forgot to sin, how are you going to paskin? Will you also paskin that you don't have to add on? Was you do licht lekuvit Shabbos? Sie aber du a choives gavre, was dus is b'shat. Ich habe gemerkt reif in der Ravose mit anderen, but so klur, even the husband sin tun licht, the light. So avada, they says there is 2 licht over there which was sin lekuvit Shabbos, and you eat by that licht does not take away that you didn't do your mitzvah. And as I mentioned in the beginning, in the first sheet over here, in Naira Shabbos there is a choives gavra on each individual, and you have to do that choives gavra. Now, once the mother does it, every whole family wird nifter. They're chaylik from bais. But if the mother forgot, wieso jetzt sie yotzig wenn die choives gavra? Basically, she nicht bekannt in the mitzvah. She forgot to do the mitzvah. So therefore, he's got money gekanzt. So again, if a lady forgot to sin licht, although she eats in a hotel which there's licht, that's something else. And I'll go even further. Rav Osner writes, I think Rav Osner or by the Moshe, I don't remember now. One of the say right, what is if a daughter, a young couple, come to their parents for Shabbos? And the minig is, they light candles. That's the minig. Happens to be the young couple forgot to light candles. Forgot. Now, emesdigla halucha, what is the halucha? According after you were here last week, 2 weeks ago, what is the halucha? Be'etzim darf sit in the licht. According to the Alter Rebbe, no. According to the Alter Rebbe, she's a chaylik from B'nai Bayis. She eats on this table, she's a chaylik from B'nai Bayis. The mother zint licht, she wird nifter. When she sins, sucht man auf uns, sie sich masalik. Du hast sie vergessen zu sinnen. Wird man die kanzen oder nicht? Steigt in der Achroine, weil Moshe schreibt der Leivi, ja, warte. Weil wie bald sie sich masalik von der Mama sinnen, weil du sind sich ihr minnig, als sie sind nicht mit der Mama, sondern sind allein. So automatically, she didn't sin the master, she didn't licht. Normalerweise kommt aus, zurück zu derselben Schale, derselben Kide, that although sie do licht on this table, if you did not sin licht, then you're moisef. Again, that's when you forgot the ganzen. I'm not talking when you forgot one. I forgot one. Again, when you forgot one, yes, you shouldn't have to add. But if you got totally, you need to go add on. If a man forgets to tzin licht, now it depends. It depends if a husband lachman laslan is a alman. Yeah, he lives by himself, and he tzins every Shabbos 5 licht, and he forgot to tzin licht. Yeah, you have to count him the same thing because of Kasaf. He forgot to tzin licht. He forgot licht. But if he's married, and usually his wife tzins, but now his wife went on the Sheikhabat convention, so now he's at home with the children, and he has to tzin licht, and he forgot. Du suchen schon nach Reune, ob man she can't set. Well, the whole reason why you can't set somebody is because he should remember that basically you shouldn't forget again. We're going to forget again. I'm not sitting every week. My wife is sitting every week. Happens to be this week I sit because she's not here. So the shachti canceln as is rugel. And you cannot cancel the wife also either. Because sie hat nicht vergessen. The husband forgot. So in such a case, cancel man nicht. But a person which is an alman or lives alone, a gorish, whatever, lives alone, and it sins every week, licht and forgot one day, Ochad, the selbe Sach, we cancel that you should add on a licht. Another halacha, and it's a cute halacha, and I got a shaila over here in Kingston, the first few weeks which I came. The Alter Rebbe writes, a lady which forgets to light candles, and she reminds himself after the shkia. She fell asleep, she wakes up, booms, it's after the shkia. After the shkia, you cannot light candles. Zug the Alter Rebbe that you could call in a goy and tell him he should tzin licht. And I mentioned it when we spoke about the lochas of Amir al-Akim b'mayna shmushas. You can tell the goy, do me a favor, put on a licht. Zug the Alter Rebbe, but you cannot tell only one licht. Why? As I mentioned in the beginning of the shiur, how many licht are you required to tzin? The mitzvah is based on only one licht. Yeah? And therefore, Hadik Nersha Shabbos. Steht nicht Nersha Shabbos, Nersha Shabbos. So the Alter Rebbe, you can tell him only what is the Iker mitzvah, which is one licht. Tell him he should put on licht. The Alter Rebbe is Machadish HaChiddush with the Chroinim, alle kochas of the meat, that you can even make the bracha. You can, the goy tzins, and you can make the bracha. And the Alter Rebbe asks, why is it like that? How could you do? The Einschlich al-Akim. There's no such thing as a shlich. So the Alter Rebbe, because Sofka Sov Neire Shabbos is the mitzvah, not only the tzin, you should have a nur of the licht. Neire Shabbos. So b'mayla, as long as we have Neire Shabbos, which the goy hat ungezinnen, and therefore, kannst du machen auf dem Abruch, weil du bist eine für eine Licht, was ist ungezinnen geworden, Kovet Shabbos. Fine. Meine Schmusch ist kaputt. And that's the lucha. You should know it. If chaz v'shulim, it will happen once, such a thing. Ask your neighbor, the goy should come in, you should put on one licht, and then you make the bracha, and you have a licht for Shabbos. The question was, the lady calls me and tells me, I slept in, and I woke up after Shkia. I know the halacha, which was Chiddush, as you know, as Nushim Tzkunis, they know that. I know the halacha, I could call my neighbor in, bring it, she put on a licht, and she put it on. Now she calls and asks me, do I need to add on a licht? That was the question. Do I need to add on a licht? Now, what will you say? What? Oh, he says, according to the Prima Gudam, the Aliyarabba, the Derech HaChaim, which I mentioned, that a person which sins 5 licht, and one Shabbos forgot and only put on only 4 licht, she has to be moist the rest of the life a licht because she forgot one of the licht, then the question doesn't start. Of course you have to add on. Why? Because usually it's in 2 licht. That's the minig, Zucha v'Shuman, Ish v'Isha, or the Vidrabba zukt, Shnei Neshumas, Neshuman Yisrael. But a kaponam, because you only tell for the goy one. You have no had to tell her to put only one. So automatically, let's assume that it's considered that like you sin, but you only sin 1 instead of 2. So according to this point, for sure you have to add on. But,
No, I'm saying, the thing is when you forget, right? So over here, could you say you forgot? Meaning, The fact that she only lit one is because she could only lit one.
Fine.
But in other words, there's no forgetting.
Why?
She wrote.
She forgot den ganzen. Verkehrt. Du ist doch ärger.
No, but something else.
Sie nicht du sagst, noch einmal, der Mitzvah war, der hast kein Recht mehr. Aber der Eizem sagt, das Manai gewinnt, Mamad gewinnt, aus der Gezint, der Maße, der Schabbat, aus der Gezint, wo Licht ist, der auf du Licht. Bepoil. No, ich habe es noch getroffen, was steht da so. Also viel, das Schild hat Suffolk, aber bei mir ist Bure, und ich habe es getroffen, so ist bei mir gehen Bure, also even according to the other poskim, also you will have to add on. Even according to the Mishnah you will add on. Well, sof, the Shabiri says that if you forgot one of what you used to, you don't have to be Moisef. Sof, du hast to forget the ganze Zinnlecht. The reason why you have to add on, zug de Maril, I want you should have in mind that du Shabbos darf man sitzen in Licht. I befragt du, was bei Eizem ist ein Schliches Laken. Es bei Eizem ist, die Goyt ist ein Schliches von dir. Es ist nur sagen, wie Schliches Laken. No, was denn? Sobald du Shabbos Licht, zug ich, also kann machen eine Brüche, wo ich da Chronim haben, mitschens mit Alter Rebbe, aber again, Alter Rebbe sagt das so, ist mir genick, sie geht das so. Aber Akapurim, die kannst nicht jugen, so gezinn 1 zu 2, sie sind 1 auch nicht, sie hat den ganzen vergessen, sie sind in der Licht. So als er Fall habe ich gehalten, ich habe sie getroffen, andere Post, ich habe sie schilchen allein in den Stopping in dem, in nun getroffen, sie halten klar so, und ich habe gehalten, am Tag Moises an, aber, again, it's such a case, you wollt sie du, wie sie halten, nein, das off, bei Meile, Sa Moise a bisschen echt. Sa Moise or a bigger hour or a bigger shaman, and that should be enough. Aber Akapunam, si du hast Svure zu suchen, an des heißt Kilias Bechrall den ganzen vergessen zu sind. Weil das Tage vergessen den ganzen zu sind. Und du das Svure, du sollst am Tag nicht auf Moise sein, aber again, wir bald, wir können, again, das ist sicher ein Topic. In andere, aber Akapunam, you have to do something. You have to be add on, oder in the Kamas von der Lech, oder in the Kamas von der Shaman. This is what I pass. And dort habe ich auch gesehen, das ist nicht so easy. Once I said you can add on in bigger lech, you calm down because it looks like kiktos. It's very hard for layers. Wait a minute, you have 4 children, and you with your husband is 2, so you have to sing 6. Why are you singing 7? Or why are you singing 8? Oh, I forgot once. This is uncomfortable. And even if nobody's going to ask. The Nushim Tzitkunis haben die Geschboine, so viele, was keiner hat noch getracht. Geläumische Chol mehr Chayrim ala Chayrim. So bei Meile darf man sich eibig rechnen mit der Sache. Neub Tag ist a burden. Ist like, haben wir uns eibig die Mischte Beriere, wo sie sucht, dass man kann Moise ein bisschen lech. Mischte Beriere ist halt bechall nicht. In der Maril, wo sie sucht, ich nie, kann man Moise sein lech, ist es auch genick, ist, als es zusammen sagt.